Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to FishOfHex. My name is Travis. Today we're going to do an email Q&A, and if you're new to the channel, this is where you guys send in your emails to fishofhex@gmail.com. Title them Weekly Q&A. It's supposed to be weekly, but it's been like once a month right now just because of everything going on, so I do apologize for that. But anyway, going to be answering some emails today and hopefully get caught up on some of them, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, real quick, it does sound like there are robots having sex behind me. That is not what's going on. Just the 3D printers trying to catch up on some orders. I want to give you guys a heads up before somebody says something in the comment section. Okay, our first email is from Bryce. Travis, my man, love your Q&As. I enjoy chilling and watching your stuff. Appreciate it, Bryce. I'm having an issue with my sand bed hardening in my 45-gallon mixed reef. It's been up for about 13 months. I used to vacuum it, but stopped early on. I don't know if it's my two-part or another issue. Currently dosing 26 milliliters of ESV Bionic 12 times a day, spaced 30 minutes apart. Suggestions, advice, parameters are as followed. Salinity 1.026, alkalinity 8.2 DKH, calcium 420, magnesium 1360, PO4 0.01. PO4 is low, but that's not going to have any issues with your sand bed. Eat a bag of dicks. Had to say it. You said we could. Thanks, Bryce. Hey, man, appreciate it. And question about the bag of dicks. Do you want me to suck the bag, or do you want me to take them out individually and suck them? Let me know. I just want to be clarified before I get started. I want to waste time doing it if it's not going to be appreciated. Anyway, when it comes to the hardening sand bed, it sounds like, you know, you're siphoning it out and it just hardened up because it's not getting enough water flow. I would say add some sand sifting critters, starfish. There's a few different snails out there. Astrea starfish? Or no, that's not it. That's a starfish. There's a freaking snail that lives in a sand bed. I have them. I used to have them. But, you know, whatever it is. I don't have sand. So I would say get some critters to mix that sand bed up and, you know, poke it. Poke it with a stick or something. No, not a real stick, but, you know, get a acrylic rod and poke it, mix it up a little bit. You didn't say how deep the sand bed is. I'm assuming if it's, you know, deeper, really deep, it's probably going to get hard up at the very top of it. I mean, I wouldn't go in there and start knocking out black spots or mixing it up too much, but, you know, maybe even consider trying to keep siphoning it, or just add some critters and let nature do its thing. That's my best advice. I don't think two-part would do that. I mean, I don't know. I don't have sand. I did have sand, but it wasn't for a very long time, and I'm not a really good sand question kind of guy, but I figured I'd try to answer your question. Get some critters to mix it up. Moving on. Okay, next question. Travis, love your videos, informative as hell. Love the frag tanks. Question, what parameters do you keep your frag tanks at? Why I ask is I started a nano reef tank for new additions and grow out, but thought I'd ask a trusted reefer. The other thing, I bought a red Monty from you a while back, and I thought you'd appreciate the size. Attached a picture, which you guys will see here. It's roughly 8 inches across, and I have clipped some off for the two other tanks that are taking off like mad. Sweet, that's awesome. That's grown a lot. And I appreciate you guys sending me pictures of corals that I sent you and having them grow out. I really like seeing how corals go, because when I send a coral out, it's just, you know, I send it out hoping that it goes to a great place and that it goes to a tank that can take care of it. And I know that's not always the case, but it's nice to see when colonies really take off. Keep that going, so I appreciate it. Now, when it comes to the frag tanks and the water parameters, well, everything in this fish room is attached. It's all one system, roughly 500 gallons. And when it comes to water parameters, I keep my alkalinity between 9-ish and 9.5. I try to keep it there as close to 9 as I possibly can. Magnesium 1350. Calcium, I don't know. I don't really test my calcium, but if we can go off the Trident currently says my calcium is 425. So we'll say 425 for the sake of the video. And salinity 1.026, temperature 79. That's where I like to keep my my system at, and been pretty good about that. It's pretty common water parameters, and the reason why I keep everything really in the middle is because, you know, selling coral, people are buying it, it's going to different tanks. And if I keep it in the middle, say somebody has low DKH or vice versa, they have high DKH, when they get the coral, it you know, has a better chance of survival than going from one extreme to the next. So that's why I keep my tanks around that range. Anyways, I appreciate the update on the coral. Looks pretty damn good. Okay, next question. I'm new to the hobby with 6 months under my belt, and I follow you. I have a 29-gallon tank, and I'm running a hang-on-the-back filter Tidal 55. Should I have to clean it out? Question mark. Also, what are the ALK, magnesium, and calcium and salinity numbers for coral? See previous answer for that one. And when it comes to cleaning out the hang-on-the-back filter, you need to make sure that you're not collecting a bunch of detritus. That's about it. Since it's hang on the back, it's pretty easy to take out, run it underneath the sink, or take it out back and put a hose to it. Pretty simple. I'm not sure what you have for filter media. Filter media in there. Are you running filter floss? You got carbon in a little container? I don't know. You didn't send any pictures or anything. So I'd say clean it out before it gets too dirty and becomes a nutrient issue. I would say once every couple months, depending on your bio load and how many fish you got and all that sorts of stuff. But you'll figure it out. If you start getting really high nitrates and phosphates, and then check the filter. It might be really dirty. You might have to take care of that. Moving on. Okay, next question is from Randy. I have a 1-year-old 100-gallon that is being overrun by algae. Nitrates 0 to nearly 0 via the Niles test kit. Phosphates undetectable, Salifert test kit. ICP test says it's all good. Running GFO and had chaeto growing until it all melted within a few days. Some SPS is still growing, most barely at all. All research says to reduce nutrients, but with the reading near 0 already, what can I do? Well, the reason why you're reading near 0, let me pull up this picture here, is because the algae is taking over and basically reading a false negative in your tank. So you're absorbing the nutrients with the algae that's growing, so you're getting a false reading. Pretty simple. If you see algae growing in your system, you have elevated nutrients. Simple as that. Even if you're reading 0 on your test kit, you still have elevated nutrients. I mean, you have quite a bit of SPS in here. It looks like a really good system for the exception of a little bit of green here and there. I think for being 1 year old, it's not that bad. What I would do is I would reduce your nutrients. I would go in there and manually remove as much of the hair algae as you can with a toothbrush. And then once you do that, just keep doing that every single day, or at least every other day. Get in there and scrub it, get it off the rock work. What that's going to do is if it's not on the rock work and it's not absorbing light, it's not going to absorb nutrients. Then you want to focus on why your nutrients are already elevated. Is it your feeding style? Do you have too many fish? Are your water, your RO system dirty? You need to change your filters. So you got to find the nutrient source. Whatever it might be, whatever you're doing, something is getting added to that tank. You didn't say how old the rock was or anything like that, if you got it from somewhere else. If you're using used rock that's in a previous system, that could be an issue with the nutrients. If you're overfeeding, if your RODI system is not 0 TDS, you could check your filters on that. You said your ICP test that it was good, so I'm assuming if you're having issues with your RODI, you probably would have had that pop up on your ICP test, but who knows. I know I don't. So I would go ahead and check those sources, check everything that you put in the tank that will introduce nutrients and put them, and reconsider what you're doing or what method you have going on. When it comes to reducing nitrates, biopellet reactor, you could use something like that. It can be iffy because you could put too much in there and you could really cause issues with the tank. I'm more of a going all natural type of approach, but biopellets can work for that. GFO takes care of the carbon. GFO takes care of the phosphates. I don't know where I said carbon, but so biopellets for nitrates, GFO for phosphates. What I would personally do is just find the source and then go the all-natural approach. Put a bunch of macroalgae in there. Run that macroalgae with a longer light schedule, giving it more time to outcompete that algae in your tank. So that's what I would do. I'd stay away from chemicals and any additives if you possibly can, and just kind of find the source, because everything that you add to the tank, like biopellets or GFO or Vibrant or another product, that's just a band-aid. That doesn't fix what you're doing. If your methods are where they should be, you shouldn't have algae in the first place. So take all that into consideration and good luck. Okay, next email is from Dante. I am working on a new 150 gallon and I'm currently curing rock and I'm not in a rush. I'm trying the patient method. My question is it okay to add beneficial bacteria to the rock as it is curing, or should I wait? P.S. Man, highly respect and appreciate your knowledge in the reefing hobby, etc. I've been watching and following you a while, YouTube and Instagram. All right, man, appreciate it. Really appreciate the support on that. Now, when it comes to the beneficial bacteria, I don't add beneficial bacteria really at all. I think occasionally I might throw it in a quarantine tank just because I have to set it up real quick. I don't have time to put tank water in there, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to curing rock, you said you're not in a rush. You don't need the beneficial bacteria. I would go ahead and, if you're probably not getting Pucani or any dirty rock, so I would add I guess it's Reef Saver rock, I'm assuming, and then add some food or add a piece of shrimp in a mesh bag. Let it sit in there and let it cure. Again, I wouldn't be adding any bacteria, and since you said you're not in a rush, I wouldn't do it. But if you want to, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to make it not cure, or it's not going to cause an issue. You can always do it, but if you want to save some money, you could probably buy a piece of shrimp for a hell of a lot less than a bottle of bacteria and still get the same results at the end of the day. So take that in consideration. All right, next question. Hey, Travis, hope all is well. I'll try to keep this short. I'm telling you, man, it doesn't look that short, but we're gonna try it out, all right? I think I'm having early signs of dino. My system has been up for about 10 months and a total water volume of 80 gallons. Running bare bottom with 30 pounds of cured Pucani dry rock in the display and Pucani rubble in the sump. running 2 Kessel A360X 12 hours. I have 13 fish total and various snails, 3 tangs, 2 clowns, 6 chromis, and partridge and a pear tree. Why the hell? No. I don't need to know all that information, but I appreciate it. I run filter socks only and no skimmer at the moment. I periodically siphon into the filter socks into the sump to remove detritus. Everything has gone well until about a week ago when I introduced Chaeto into my refugium. It's growing fast under my Kessel H380 and lighting schedule currently running from 2100 hours to 06. All reef parameters are normal except nitrates are reading 0 and phosphates are also undetectable. In the last 3 days, I'm seeing stringy algae which easily dislodges and with a turkey baster, yep, and returns quickly. Yep, that sounds like dino to me. My zoas and LPS are looking amazing and fluffy as usual, except the torch who are pissed off. Story of my life too, man. My Montipora looks normal. Think the Chaeto stripped the nutrients. Should I remove the refugium, feed heavily for a week, and consider dosing phosphates? I'm looking for a long-term natural solution as I've done my best to avoid unnecessary chemicals. I believe at this time the water change could be absolute worst idea, thinking that it remove even more nutrients. You're correct about that. You do not want to do a water change. I make my own water and I have 0 TDS RDI day 1. Thank you, bro, for your service and everything you do. I'd love your support channel. Purchase the HO4 Hex PO4. I think it's right for me. Okay, all right, Danny. Now, yes, that definitely sounds like a dino for sure, and you have a pretty good system. I mean, you got some money dropped in that. You did everything right. You cured the Pucani. You just did a good job. So I give you props on that. It does sound like the macroalgae with the good light went ahead and stripped your tank to 0 nitrates and phosphates. Now, because you're reading 0 on both, you should dose both to make sure you get the levels where they need to be. Now, this is just a temporary thing. You don't always have to dose. Eventually you could have more fish. Maybe you're feeding a little bit more. That keeps the tank stable. And also, tanks go through when they go through changes. It just happens, you know. When you add the macroalgae in there, it's going to automatically suck up the nutrients. And I got some sirens going on in the background. And at that point, the tank just has to adjust. So what I would do is I would dose nitrates and phosphates just to keep it stable, so you can keep from bottoming out. I mean, you already sound like you're at the bottom out point anyways, but keeping it from becoming more of an issue and that dino taking off. So I would manually remove as much of that dino as you can. Siphon it. You're already doing the siphoning process. Go in there and siphon it into filter socks every single day. Get as much of it out as you possibly can, and you got to keep doing it every day if you want it to go away. Increase your nutrients. Get up to that 3 to 5 ppm of nitrates, and get up to at least 1 ppm of phosphates, and keep it there stable with dosing. And just do that. Always keep some nitrates and phosphates on hand, because you never know. Maybe you run out of food. Maybe a couple of your fish decide to go fish aside and jump the tank, and you got nutrient issues. I mean, who knows? But either way, start dosing and see how the tank reacts. Let it adjust to the Chaeto being in there. I would not take the refugium offline. I think that's an awesome natural approach. Your system just has to adjust to the new addition. So that's about it. Thanks for the email. It was a little long, but I know that you wanted to get all the information out, so I appreciate it. Thanks, man. Okay, moving on to our last email, which is from Brad. Hey, bud, your channel is awesome. You make me laugh every day how you give 0 shits about anything. I do care about a lot of things. Just depends on what mood I am, I guess. Anyway, I have been in and out of the hobby for about 10 years now, but always learning something new. But I'm new to SPS and acros. Everything looks good other than a couple of my acros are green when they should be purple, and have been in the tank for about 6 months and haven't done a thing. Is my light too low? Everything else checks out. I run 2 XR15s on deep blue 80 at 20% and with diffusers. And my polyps are all extended. Thanks. Okay. So if you've had acros in your tank for 6 months and they're green and you have no growth, then yes, your lights are probably too low. You didn't say what tank. You didn't say how big the tank was. I'm looking through real quick, make sure I didn't miss it. You didn't say the tank, and you didn't really say what kind of par you're getting or anything like that. What I would do is go ahead and get yourself a Senai Reef par meter, or you can rent one from BRS. I don't know if Marine Depot does, but either way, you can rent them and see what you got for par. I'm willing to bet that your par is pretty low. You got to be sub 100 at that point, because green, if they're supposed to be purple and they're green, that's definitely a big indication that your light is not where it should be. Also, maybe consider doing an ICP test, seeing if there's any kind of elements that you might be missing in the tank. ICPanalysis.com is what I like to use. And yeah, I would just double check the light. That'd be the first thing I would do. And of course, you know, make sure water parameters are good to go. Test kits are updated, nothing like that. So you're not accidentally running, you know, 1.030 salinity when you should be at 1.025. So just keep an eye on that, double check everything, and check the light. So that's about it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you want to be part of the next one, send your questions to fishofhex@gmail.com. Title them Weekly Q&A. You'll be added to the list. And I'm going to, again, I try to get one out every week, and I'll do my best to try to get one out every other week at a minimum. No promises on that. You know, I don't like to make promises that I might not keep. That's not good business. So other than that, I will see you guys later and hopefully tomorrow. All right, peace.